What I admire so much about your work as an artist and storyteller is how, like, some of the characters in Lady in the Lake is your journey to uncover and present the truth, how
Uh,
you frame the camera, how you write the dialogue. There's such a raw honesty to it that is unlike others, whether it's how you cut back and forth between two characters during two different but somewhat connected intense situations, or a line of dialogue like that police officer saying, if it's a sex crime, that's too much for me, to which Natalie Portman's Maddie says, for you. I'm curious about those key
wow.
stepping stones that presented themselves to you in your life for you to know to step away from what's traditional or typical and go on a path where, as a viewer, I can watch something that you created, feel the dirt within it, and feel an active dialogue in my head
Who
because of the
are
things you
you?
explore.
This is like incredible. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the stepping stones, you mean like personally, or do you
Yeah,
mean
yeah. Like what,
if I
if you
have
can
any
pinpoint
principles,
some of those
or
elements.
you mean in my personal life, or any principles creatively, or?
Uh, Anything that you feel that best contributed to the creative makeup of you.
First of all, you're an incredibly deep person, so thank you for taking the time to articulate your thoughts in such a beautiful way,
Oh,
uh, and to receive our work like that. I think I had a pretty, I would say, intense childhood. That required a lot of empathy and a lot of growing up too fast, maybe, uh, but also a certain kind of shifting perspective on the world. And even now to this day, as I grow, and I think everybody maybe goes through that to a certain degree, there's a lot of memories, people in my life, things I went through, and even my own identity that I keep looking at from different perspectives and seeing it differently.
so you relate to like this scene with Maddie because I thought it was such a beautiful visual articulation of her riding side by side with her younger self.
Absolutely. Do that every day. I do that drive every day. So I
Mm,
feel like I think there's a need in general in me to understand what one can call as like the duality of life, and it's even more fragmented than that these days. But the fragmentation of life, I guess, and like the way there is honesty. Honesty does exist if you don't impose a narrative. If you don't expect to have a right and wrong constantly, or you don't expect to have a clear answer constantly, and instead of it, you really understand that character is destiny and that circumstances are relative, right?
right.
So being able to constantly make that shift and also take into account that life is about a dream, and that the subconscious constantly informs everything we see, and keeps changing also with age and time, and context. It allows you to chase a truth that isn't preachy, that isn't like, one-sided, and that comes from being connected to the moment, and to the character.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're out of time. This was really great. Thank you so
And it
much
was
for taking.
short, but it was deep. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. You energized me.